This is a small tutorial in how to set up a DBM-6205, a controller which can contain up to 6 units on IP. It contains an access unit itself and a controller. You can see that by the output. We have an output for the door relay, you have the reader bus, you have the power supply to the reader, and you've got a feedback if the door is opened or not, and a push button input here. You have the timbre up here, which can be connected to a switch, of course. Now I will not go through how to make the database and the SQL server, but I have now made the database, which there's another tutorial for. I'll just click OK. Now then, to get access to all my privileges, I need to go in as administrative person, so I will write that, administrator and admin in the bottom. Good, now I have all privileges. If you want to check new operators or modify your existing one, you can see now there's only the default one. You can go into properties and see what rights they have. I will not go through that, but now it's set to English, and let's continue in that way. This is the installation window. You can find the installation window right here. You've got the other real-time events which is already taken from the events, which you cannot then you have to refresh it to get new events, and the plans window, which you can visualize your whole installation with animated and still graphics, the alarm window, the user window over here, how to create new user. But let's go through the basics, which is creating the controller and the IP socket. I will add an IP connection here. I would have told you how to obtain the IP address, but it will just take too long time, and you really need to know what you're doing when it comes to this. So I can tell you this, that if you want to have an IP address, you can ask, of course, what IP address your own computer has. My computer have got 192.168.219, and I could have pinged an IP address. I have to do it in the same range. Now if I'm not getting a reply from 250, that could be available. So let's just create the controller on 2.50. Right? So 192.168.250. That's the IP socket, and I then need to add the controller, which is a mixed controller. We could give it a name here, which is not relevant. When we need to enter the serial number, and if we look at the PCB shortly, it was 65965. Okay. That's it. The IP address, of course, is what we have determined, 250. The subnet is my usual one. You could also see that on the IP config. Since I'm inside my own Wi-Fi or network ID, I don't need to get outside, so I haven't got the gateway. Anyway, if I had an external controller, I would have to set the IP address of the controller first on the PCB before moving into the installation. If you have doors which is outside my own network, I would have to create a route. Let's say if we had a tree network, I would do like this, and I would go through my router. In my case, that's my gateway, which is 2.1. I could then add that, and I would then afterward be able to communicate with VPN doors on the tree network. Good. Now the first 3 digits are already predefined, so I just need to enter the last 3 rows. And if we looked at the picture again, you could see that it is 020160. Right, I'll move that to the right. 020160. Okay. Now this is a license-free version. Of course, when you have obtained your hardware, you also need a license. The license is divided into groups of users. The first license would contain 100 users, the next 500, 1000, 2000, 5000, 10,000, etc. You can also have licenses which permit you to have more than one client. In my case, I would just have the server itself, which is the standard license. I could have one client and the server and 3 and so forth. But the controller is now online. If it was another version, I would have a red V here, and I would have to right click and burn the flash. Normally the flash is under the DBM-6005 folder, and you have a folder name called flash. If you were to select something, it would be this file, which is called arm.pkg. It's already the same, so I don't need to do that. I can then right click and say add hardware to create the door which is inside the controller. The door name is not so interesting for me, so I'll just write door. The serial number is the same as the controller. The IP address and the MAC address is also the same as the controller. Let's write that again. That was 2.50. I'm not going to have another mask. I'm not going through a gateway. And I don't want to check the version of the door because it's as the controller programmed. As you can see, it's there already. Good. If I then were to add another door, I would then do like this. Add a door, the door name, the door's individual serial number, the MAC address of the door. We've got 2 different ranges here, old and new, and the IP address. And if we are within the same network, you don't need to fill out the default gateway nor the secondary gateway. That's how you make a first installation on the DBM-6205. There's a whole lot of other informations you can draw upon here, and you can just click F1. Let's say if we are clicking at the controller and I want to know something about this window, I could just press F1 in the application, and I would then be able to see the help about this window I am. A good thing to know when you do something with IP is to check the IP tutorial. That will help you understand how it works and about the transmissions, the protocols going from and to. Normally when we get out on installations, there's a switch which is managed, and you have to pry open the ports which is running from the controller to the doors, and from the PC to the doors. All that have to be predetermined, or you have to open entirely the switch to the secondary devices. But that is necessary for you to read here. But on a normal simple installation, there's no need. That's it for now.